Evans' three-point shot is
Powering shot, baby.
takes it to the house.
The following is a production of the Rough Rider broadcast team, a presentation of Watlington and Shires Productions.
Welcome everybody to the pizzeria. I'm Chris Watlington. This is the AD, Rick Meeks. That's Larry. Come on, Ref Pierce. The counselor, Stephen Shires, is behind the camera. We'll be talking to him a little bit later. It's week 3. We just finished week 3 of the season. This is our 3rd program. And we had a football game Friday night it was a football game, but it was also a cultural experience.
Yeah, it was.
Just all around a cultural experience. On the program, we have our player of the game from our Center Motor Company player of the game. He'll be on in a little bit, Clint Atkinson. And we have 3 of the Center Rough Rider cheerleaders here, all going to be on the program. Nice. And we've got a lot to talk about with Rick Meeks. It's good to have you here. Before we even get anything started, I want to thank Sandy Sanford State Farm for being such a faithful sponsor of not just center ball, but all the athletic programs in the county. She's dependable no matter what part of the county you're from. Sandy Sanford State Farm, glad to have you as part of the team. Sabine State Bank is who brings you this. This is the Rick Meeks Show from the pizzeria, brought to you by Sabine State Bank. We'll hear from them, and we'll be right back to talk to Coach.
Soda.
Struggling with mobility, chronic pain, work, or sports injury? At Azalea Orthopedics, our team of highly trained physicians specialize in complete orthopedic care, pain management, sports medicine, physical medicine, and rehabilitation. If you've sustained a bone or joint injury, have mobility or movement problems, struggle with pain, contact Azalea Orthopedics. We're conveniently located across East Texas, serving 18 counties. When visiting your doctor, urgent care, or hospital, you have a choice. Demand Azalea. At Azalea Orthopedics, your health is our priority.
At Sabine State Bank, you have a lot of things going for you. It's a small office, so
What's this, musical chairs?
All right, here we go. Yeah, it's musical chairs, Larry. So, welcome everybody.
Win a cake or something?
That's right. So we're live here from the pizzeria. We had a full. Last week we had half pepperoni, half works. It just wasn't enough. So this week we got a full pepperoni and a full works. But
Thank you.
everybody, come on down.
Left.
We got some few folks here this evening. We'd ask y'all to come on down and watch because we have a fun time, and we may actually even take some questions from the audience.
Now, look out.
That's dangerous,
That's
right?
dangerous.
Hey, I don't know if you want.
That's right. So, again, this is the Rick Meeks Show, and, of course, it wouldn't be the Rick Meeks Shows if we didn't have Coach Rick Meeks. That's here with us this evening, thanks to Azalea Orthopedics along with Sabine State Bank. So let's flash back to this past Friday evening. Yet another. I mean, we've played 3 ball games, and all 3 of them have just been exciting. I mean, unbelievable. And last Friday was no exception.
Yes, sir. It was a good night. An unbelievable atmosphere there at North DeSoto, and it seemed like a second round playoff game.
It sure did.
Just the atmosphere, the intensity of the game, the way the game went, we definitely wanted to win. But just didn't do the things down the stretch to win. So, but a lot of good things still came out of Friday night.
Absolutely. We'll talk about those things. Just go back. We talked last week. I mean, the head coach over there has been a friend with your family, and you said a close collaborator with you, except for the time leading up to the game.
Correct.
So have y'all spoken since then?
Oh, yeah. We've probably talked more over the last 3 to 4 days than we had the previous 3 weeks combined. And that's just kind of how it's been the last 2 years with myself and Coach Dunn. Like I said, he's a really good family friend and somebody that I really trust a lot, and he's just a good man. And so it's been nice to get back to visiting with him and those things. So, but yeah, we've spoke.
No, very good. So let's just talk. What are your general thoughts about the game, Coach? I mean,
I think we're at a point now to where we play hard. But we're at a point now to where playing hard is not going to win the big games anymore. We gotta make plays when it's time to make plays. Extremely proud of the guys. There were two big times in the game there to where we could have just folded the tent and said, we'll get ready for Dangerfield Monday. But we didn't do that. We continued to play. We continued to just do our assignments and do our jobs, and we fought our way back in the game. But then at the end, when it was time to make plays, we just didn't make plays. We played hard, but playing hard is not going to have us playing past Thanksgiving. We've got to make plays when it's time to make plays, and so that was a really good learning experience for us.
yeah.
We were talking before we started here. Some of the mistakes here that were made out there was on some penalties that kind of keep things alive there, and some of those bad places for you guys to have those, and those really were those are the ones you go back and film and look at it on Saturday and say, see what happens whenever you can't give these good teams this opportunities because they'll make you pay, and that's pretty much what happened.
It is, that played a role in it, and then we had two. Technically two interceptions. One, we run out of the end zone and should have never ran out of the end zone. So instead of getting the ball on the 20, we have it on the – we ended up with it on the 5 because we run it out to the 8 or the 4. We didn't run out to the 8, and then we get a holding, so it goes half the distance. So that's just a mental mistake.
Yeah, I think the audience heard your defensive
Yeah,
coordinator
probably so.
unhappy about that decision.
All the way up in the press box.
Yeah. Well, no, he was right next door to us.
Oh, okay.
But talk about this for a second. We talked about this just before we started. It's interesting because there were a lot of penalties, and a lot of our folks in our audience was unhappy about some and not understanding. But there was a reason for that. Can you tell everybody about that?
Yeah, so in Texas we play NCAA rules, and in Louisiana they play National Federation rules. So there are some differences which cause some of those.
A couple times it came into play. Right?
Absolutely. Special teams over. One big one was kickoff. Special teams over there in a kickoff return, they can have the wedge formation, which in Texas we can't. So our kickoff coverage is not dictated to defend the wedge. In Texas, it's more one-on-one blocks to the return man. You can't have any more than what's referred to as a two-man wedge. So as soon as 3 people get together, then that's a penalty. So, but in Louisiana, that's not the case.
Get the old V.
That's right. And there was some other things. And then there's some that just still scratch your head that happen every Friday night on calls that get called. But that's one we can't do anything control that. It's one of those things that we tell the kids we can only control what we can control, and that's not one of them. So there's not much we can do about that. There's other things that we can correct and fix, and we got to do a better job of that.
I think that's where the "come on" ref came from. Those head scratching penalties. You're like, "Come on, ref."
You would have lost your hair Friday.
Yeah, you would have. So, Coach, I got a couple things. One of my observations, I kind of want to get your reaction to my thought on this, and that is from a psychological standpoint from the football team. I have two thoughts, and one's kind of a positive and a pro, and one's kind of a con. The pro is, like I think you said it. I mean, midway through the first quarter, we have a couple mistakes. We get down. The team could have said, here we go again. Mm-hmm. Let's just get this one over with and get to Dangerfield. But they didn't. They fought back, scored 24 unanswered, and we go in up at halftime ahead. And then the same thing at the end of the ball game, again, where they get the lead, they actually go up by more than one score. And then we could have just said, we gave it a good shot. We scored, we scored a bunch of points and we played hard. But that's not what they did. They fought back and fought and got within, and then we were, an onside kick away from, maybe winning the football game.
Yes, sir.
So from that standpoint, handling adversity, I believe that the team gets an A+ in that.
Yes, sir.
And then on the other kind of thing that I noticed is, again, we we have 9-point lead at starting the second half with the football. I feel like I'm sitting there saying the key to the game. I think my Ray Jones Chevrolet key to the game was if we can go down, take the ball down and score, put it in the end zone again, go up by 16 or 17, then that really puts pressure on them. But that's not what happened. We ended up it took us, to me, about a half a quarter to get that intensity back up, and they came out with full intensity, and that's what got them back into the ball game.
Right.
I mean, what is that something you noticed, and did y'all talk about that?
Yes, sir, and it kind of goes back, yeah, exactly what we talked about a little while ago. That was our big point on Monday before we started practice was, we started slow coming out of halftime, which shouldn't have been the case because it was a lot shorter halftime. We got in, got Gatorade and fruit in our kids and got them back out, and we started slow. Now, the positive, well, offensively we started slow. The positive is the defense played well for the first two possessions. We stopped them, get the ball back. That next possession, we don't do much anymore. So, played pretty slow there offensively coming out of half. But the biggest thing is, like we talked about, we were still playing hard. We just weren't making plays.
Yep.
And there's, for us to win that type of football game moving forward, and we're going to have quite a few more in front of us of that caliber, we've got to make plays now when it's time to go make plays. Just being in the right spot or just playing hard, that's not going to help us capitalize and win that game. So, now the flip side of it, like you said, all of that is our guys believing in our pillars. It really is. Friday is our process pillar. And it's nothing more than be where your feet are. Just you worry about the present. There's nothing you can do about what happened. It's not going to change. And there's nothing that you know or can do about the future because you don't know what's going to happen. All you can control is that point in time at that moment. And so if you control your actions, then you're going to continue to be in the game. And so they're starting to understand that football is more than two possessions.
Right.
It's a long game,
Yes.
and ours really are with how we play offense. It's a long night, and so you've just got to continue to play, be where your feet are, control what you can control, and we do a good job of that. Now we've just got to execute the details and go make plays.
Hey, too, Coach, because I wanted to ask you how you thought your team was compared to last year against DeSoto, because I know that these guys, heard them talk about that team and how good that team was last year, and then how you guys went out there this year and made it a much closer game, a much more intense game there. And so the improvement for your team, and especially your defense from last year to this year, has to be, a great improvement. You had to know that your team has done a good job of improving from one year to the next, playing that type of caliber team.
Yes, sir, and we've improved a don't get me wrong. There's a ton of positive to take from Friday. The problem is, we're to a point now from a coaching staff and kids that we're so competitive that we're at a point now from a program standpoint that we expect to go win every Friday night.
Right.
Might not have been the case 2 years ago when we first got here and trying to get the program established and that base layer built and then building our foundation. But that's not the case anymore.
Yep.
I don't care who we play.
Right.
We're going to win the game. And so when that doesn't happen, it's a little disheartening. But there are plenty of good to happen, and I agree. We're doing a lot of really good things. We did a lot of really good things on offense. We had 620 yards of offense.
Right.
But Coach, I know we need to get you out of here, get to your next show, but I do want to talk about. I think that was the best defensive effort that we've seen this year.
That's what I was saying, because I know that you guys have had some things about giving up points that first game or whatever, and I know what kind of a good offense they had there. But for what you guys did there, I thought your defense played very, very well with their offense. That was a great defensive effort.
We turned them over. Had like I said, three or four turnovers, a couple of 3 and outs, and that's the deal. That, really and truly, Friday night on all 3 of our goals, our defense we have a point system, and it's basically off of 3 and outs, turnovers, and if you get 6 or more, your chances of winning the game go to 92%. Well, we were at that.
Right.
Offensively, we believe if we can run 80 plays or more, we should score 50 points.
Right.
Well, we ran 91 plays, we scored 52 points. Special teams win all reps. Well, in special teams, we were behind 145 yards of return yards. That pretty much equates 9 points.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's a 1.5 football fields. And then they had a touchdown off of our kickoff return where we're just running, and our returner non-contact fumble. They scoop and score it. So, realistically, special teams is where we didn't achieve our goal. And from us as a coaching staff, special teams is where we lost the game Friday night.
Right.
And so, off of those things. Now, we can look at things offensively and defensively and say that we could have done this or that and still won it.
Well, that's always the case.
But if we just executed special teams like we had week 1 and week 2, we win the game.
Right. All three facets got to be working to make it good all night long. And I mean, people don't understand how much those special teams really are very, very.
That's
important.
correct. That's
Well,
correct.
I just say, Coach. Wally and I talked about this on the drive home. I mean, it was a loss, but we really felt like there were a lot of great things that came out of that game. A lot of positives.
Very much, very much.
and
Yeah, I mean, you have a team that's in the same classification over there as us. They got beaten the state finals last year.
Yep.
I'll be very surprised if they're not in the Final Four, if not the Final 2 again this year. We're in a good spot.
Yep.
I hate that we're 2-1. I'd rather be 3-0, and as would anybody.
Yep.
But there was a lot of good that came out of Friday night.
Put that goose egg up in the districts, Coach. That's where you need
That's
to worry
right.
about that.
That's right.
All right, so that was last week, Coach. Let's just briefly talk about. I mean, we actually have a storied program coming next.
Yes, sir.
In Dangerfield.
Yes, sir.
But I mean, they've got some good athletes. I mean, they had good athletes last year, and
They did.
And we gave them. We gave them a pretty good beating. And
Yes,
so
sir.
I'm sure they've circled this game and probably want some. A little.
I kind of
revenge.
feel sorry for Dangerfield. They had Timpson last week and we're the Rough Riders this week. Well, they're going to get worked over, aren't they?
Well, hang on now. We still got to play the game, right?
Yeah.
We still got to kick it off Friday and go play.
Yeah.
But no, Dangerfield, very good team. Still very athletic. They lost one of their key players last year to graduation. He signed with UTSA.
Wow.
But Bubba Hampton is still back, which is committed to the University of Texas.
That would be the last time I root against him.
They're going to be very well coached, and the one thing that we've kind of looked at up to this point is 6 or 7 of their guys will not step foot off the field, so we've got to take advantage of our depth and use that against them and make them match our intensity for 4 quarters, and if we can do that, then I feel like we can pull away. But if we don't, then they're going to be a very tough task to beat.
Right.
All right, well, Coach, thank you for joining us again for Week 3 of the Rick Meeks Show. We appreciate you taking time out of your very busy
Yes,
schedule
sir.
to come out and talk to us and to the fans. Folks, our Coach Talk is brought to you all year long by JBA Financial. We'll hear from them and our sponsor of the week, McAdams Propane, and we'll be back more with the Rick Meeks Show right after this.
JBA Financial Services brings you Coach Talk, and there's a reason for that. John Black knows that when you're preparing for an important game, you need a plan, and they'd like to be a part of the details, the X's and O's of that plan. He's put together a good team, a coaching staff that would help you and your family get where they want to go. At JBA Financial Services, they're working to secure your family's future. McAdams Propane Company is your East Texas propane provider. Josh McAdams represents the 3rd generation of a family that has kept clean, efficient propane running to facilities and farms.
Hey, surprisingly, we're back on. We've been
Oh.
that commercial.
Are we back out here? So I'm here by myself now with Coach. All right, there we go, Coach. We'll do a good job without those guys. Anyway, welcome back here, everybody. And as we're going along, big thanks to Sabine State Bank and also good folks out there at Ace Hardware, Brooks & Brothers, Covington Lumber as well. So I wanted to talk to you real quick, Coach, because, there are some younger Rough Riders out there that sometimes, don't get a whole lot. And so those guys are working hard out there as well, young ladies too. But let's talk a little bit about some of junior high and JV football so far. How's it going so far, and how's those programs working out to start off?
Yes, sir. So, last week playing across the border, Louisiana plays their sub-varsities on Monday night.
Right.
So we had to pick up a few games last week. Weren't able to find one for our JV. Our freshmen played Sabine. Played really well. Moved them to 2-1 on the season. They beat Sabine 54-0.
Right, nice.
So that really good group right there. And one of their players is up on varsity. So, but they've had a good season so far. And then our junior high played Newton. So our 7th grade lost to Newton. Played really well. Lost by 2 or 3 touchdowns. Newton scored actually It was we were down 1 score going into the fourth quarter, and they scored a couple late. And then our 8th grade was down 8-0 at halftime. Ended up winning 12-8. Played really good in the second half. Did a really good job containing their run game, and offensive line is a strong point for them. Jace King is a good player. Ryder Klein, and then have 2 or 3 really good skill players in that group, as well as with the freshmen. So they picked up their first win and ready to go again this week against Dangerfield. Dangerfield doesn't have a freshman. So our 7th grade, 8th grade, and JV will play Dangerfield, and our freshmen are going to play Shelbyville. So a lot of really good things there with our younger groups, and they're playing really hard and very competitive.
Right, and I'm sure, like you do, you probably implement it in, and you kind of use your. They're going to be center Rough Riders later on, so you start as early as you can with those youngsters. And I know we've probably got some youth programs too. Do you guys get in with those guys too and help out whenever that starts up as well?
Yes, we do, and we're big with our 6th grade pre-athletics, getting programs implemented there, and then and then I meet with our youth football coaches, and start talking to them about our pillars and what we do offensively and defensively, and just try to get those things implemented. Matter of fact, Friday night we're going to recognize our 5th and 6th grade youth team. Jamie Jackson is their coach, and going to get them out there and just get them in front of the crowd and get them excited about playing in the stadium and get them ready to wear purple.
Right, and it's cool too because those kids get to come out and they get to be some of those players they get to watch on Friday night. And that was always when I was little, get to go do that. That was always a lot of fun to do
sir.
too. Know the guys like that.
That's right, and it's a great atmosphere, so it gets them out there in front of all that, and that'll be something they'll always remember.
Definitely. All right, now moving into some other things here. I know volleyball season's kind of almost to the end of it. How's the volleyball team coming up here? We're going to get a playoff run here.
Last Tuesday when we were here, they were playing at Nacogdoches. They won that game.
Sweet.
Big win for us over NAC. A 5A program. That put us at 14-13, which once again last year we won 4 games.
Right. So
so we've
500. We'll definitely take
that's
that.
right. We're rocking and rolling. Friday we started district against Carthage. We lost that one, so we're 0-1 in district. We're playing an out-of-district game right now. We're playing Woodville here at home. We pick back up in district Friday versus Spring Hill.
Right.
So doing some good things there. Junior high volleyball's kicked off. They're playing well. Tennis picked up another district win versus Russ last week, so they're 2-0 in district. And so cross country's running well. They have district coming up October 9th, actually hosting it here in Center. Our cross country JV teams run at Broadus tomorrow morning, and then Friday they're running at Pine Tree. So a lot of really good things. Yuli Garcia is running really well for the girls. She's placed in both meets they've been in so far.
Right. Man, I tell you what, it's hard not just you think you're just being the head football coach, but the athletic director, you got all that stuff you got to go along with too.
Yes, sir.
You got to keep up with everything.
Yes, sir.
Tell you what, that is good though. And like I said, the tennis team is doing very well, and I know that they're going to go well. And I'm really proud of the volleyball girls too. I mean, that's got to be very exciting for them, and that's getting the people out in the stands and doing some things there, making up that great program.
And they've made that change, and they've made the transition with a relatively young squad. There's only 2 seniors, 2 juniors,
right?
And so they're dressed at 15, so 11 freshmen and sophomores. So
there we go.
Really good turnover with or turnaround with some younger kids, so there shouldn't be just a ton of turnover moving forward. So really excited about what Coach Spikes has done with our program and the energy she's bringing, and it's been fun to watch.
Right. One more thing, Coach, before we let you get out of here, how's the athletic facility? You guys ready to get in there? Is it opened up for you
We're
guys
ready.
yet?
We're ready. We thought we were going to get in there last week. The nets, the drop-down nets that separate, and the net that has the goalpost on it, were all back ordered.
Right.
But now they're here. So now that they're here, they've got to get in there and finish that. So we're probably about a week out.
There you go. There you go. It'd be nice to get in there. And when the weather cools off, then you finally get to go inside.
Right.
That's how it goes.
That's right. But hey, I won't complain. I'm ready to get in there.
I don't blame you. It's a nice facility.
Yes,
all right,
sir.
Coach, I know you got a lot of things going on. Good luck to you and the guys headed to Dangerfield. And then we got coming up next week, we get into the district play and the district run. And I know I got to be a part of running around with these guys and calling you guys as we went through the playoffs, and I hope we get the opportunity to do that again this year.
Yes, sir. Awesome.
All
awesome.
right.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, well, we get our sponsor of the week. It is is Hope Medical, and they bring us our injury report every week. So Hope Medical, thank you so much for that, and get by Hope Medical for all your medical needs. And hey, whenever they can give us an injury report, then we know that they can hook you up with whatever injury you got. That's Hope Medical. All right, we got a break here. Chris is coming back, and we're going to have the CHS cheerleaders with us right here at the Rick Meeks Show from the pizzeria.
At Hope Community Medicine, they believe that more than medicine is needed when providing quality care for their patients. With locations throughout East Texas, the vision is to give hope to those who seek a better life by caring for their body, mind, and soul, and not about their ability to pay. Through the network of staff and locations, Hope seeks to be primary provider of medical, dental, and behavioral health. Because the difference that Hope makes is the difference between night and day. Hope Community Health. McAdams Propane Company is your East Texas propane provider. Josh McAdams represents the third generation of a family that has kept clean, efficient propane running to the facilities and farms of the area, as well as to the outdoor kitchens that make life fun. They also have the supplies that make an outdoor kitchen possible. Aware of the community, they have provided a luncheon for the first responders of our area. From the beautiful outdoor kitchen to the important fuel that keeps the engines running, keep your engine running with McAdams Propane in Center.
At Sabine State Bank, you have a lot of things going for you. It's a small office, so everybody knows you by name. They know your needs individually. And maybe best of all, you got Steve Waters working for you. Steve will bend over backwards to make sure that he and his staff are doing everything they can do to meet your financial needs. Sabine State Bank.
You know, I'm hungry. What is there to eat around these parts?
Well, this is Texas, so you're probably gonna want some barbecue.
Barbecue, you say?
Yes, and the very best you can get's at Yardbirds. You just pull on up to the drive-through window. When you get there, you tell them what you want. They got good stuff.
Do you think that would be good with some scones and a spot of tea?
Nah, you better leave that in your purse. Get you a beer or a soda pop.
Yardbirds, Tenaha Street.
How about this, everybody? We're back. It's the Rick Meeks Show, brought to you by Sabine State Bank. We are in the pizzeria, and I'm with the cheerleaders. I'm the only person in the room that's with the cheerleaders, which makes me kind of cool. Y'all introduce yourselves right quick.
I'm Julie Bird, and I'm a senior at Center High School.
I'm Ezra Hernandez, and I'm a senior too.
And the person without a microphone is
It's Carson.
Carson Crouch. She'll have a microphone and a headset here soon enough. We only had 3 to go around. First of all, before we talk to the ladies, thanks to the Forge, Danbert Column. I'm pointing to my right because the Forge is just right there, about a 1-minute walk. Beautiful place to exercise with a good-looking view of the best-looking courthouse in the world. Danbert Column makes the difference. He knows what he's doing. He's a personal trainer. The Forge on the square. All right, ladies. Well, we were talking before the game. We've played 3 games, and we've scored 200 points. There have been lots of seasons in the last 100 years that we don't score 200 points. The cheerleaders before you in the 70s, our team didn't score much, so they didn't get to cheer for a touchdown but about every other week. Every time you turn around, you're cheering for touchdowns. So Julie, is that kind of cool?
It is. It's really cool. It's really cool to be out there while they're getting all those touchdowns.
Does it feel like there's kind of something special and different going on?
Yes, especially at the last game where it was like a really close game and the fans and the stands were all involved. It was really cool.
And I bet they were involved with a game like that.
They were. They were yelling.
And again, and spell your name for me.
Esmerai.
Esmerai. Esmerai.
Esmerai, yeah.
How long have you been a cheerleader?
Cheered since 7th grade, so about
So
5 years.
every year you could.
Yes, sir.
And when you are looking at the week to come, like this is a home game.
Yes.
Do you prefer home games or
Yes.
away games?
I like home games.
Why come?
We have pep rallies to
Oh,
get
that's
us
true.
ready for
That's
our game.
true.
Get us.
And do you enjoy the pep rally
I do.
experience?
Yes, I like it.
No,
They're so much fun.
I think so too. I like it. Do you like away games or home games?
Home games.
Same reason?
Yes, and because we have a student section, or a
Well,
bigger
that's
one. Yes,
That's
sir.
true.
And more of our fans.
And you know, student sections, that's relatively new. We went a long time without that.
I know.
Are they rowdy?
Yes.
They sure can get rowdy.
Yes.
Where do they sit?
It's like
The side.
It's like the big section
To the
and then
side.
To the
That's
side
where I
of the
said
side.
the side.
Side of the big section.
yeah. And section 40.
Section 40.
Okay.
Oh, the 40-yard line.
And hand your headset over to Carson. It's Carson's turn. And Carson, hello, neighbor. Do you like? Are you also a home game girl, or do you like away games?
I like home games.
So you're all three.
Home games.
When I didn't want a cheerleader, but when I was involved, I always liked away games because you just got to visit more. Home games, you just showed up and did it, but away games, you were kind of a team. Nobody feels that way? God, I knew I was weird. So one of the things I wanted to talk to you guys about that's brand new, it's like cheerleader news, is the UIL contest. It happened with tennis. Tennis operated for a lot of years, team tennis, under the State Tennis Association. But it wasn't UIL. Then they became UIL, and it became a whole different deal. Band used to be that way. Now band goes to the playoffs.
Yes.
So now cheerleading is too, and y'all are going to compete this year for the first time.
Yes.
We'll start with you, Carson. When did you decide to do that? Did you know you were doing it at camp?
Yes, we knew at tryouts that we were going to be competing this year, so we're
Sweet.
excited.
I guess so. And when is the contest?
It's the first weekend of January.
So what is different about contest cheering versus pep rally and game cheering, Julie?
It's more like cheer. You know, like we do dances and stuff at pep rallies and like routines, but it's more of like a cheer, a chant, a dance, a sideline, and then like fight song.
So there's like 5 categories?
Is there 5 categories?
There's sideline, cheer, band chant, and fight song.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you get grades or numbers and all of those.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's more of like how till you get the crowd involved and
Yeah.
it's lots of spiriting
How
and
spirited
stuff.
you are.
You
Yeah.
did that pretty well at camp. A lot of you got rewarded and awarded for that, and so I'm excited about it. Where will it be? How can we watch that? If I wanted to go to contest, could
It's
I?
at Fort Worth.
Okay, so maybe not.
yeah, maybe
Will
not.
it be on TV?
Yes.
Will we be
Yes.
able to watch it at home?
Yes.
Okay, that's exciting. Well, we'll talk about that a lot more. Before we go, I'm just gonna hand my headset in a moment over to Esmeralda, and they are going to cheer us out. So before we do, I would like to thank everybody from Joe's Car Wash. Did you know Reed Grant owns that? He's a local boy now. Joe was from Carthage, and he opened it, but Reed bought it from him. It's a great place to go to get your car washed. We will hear from them in just a moment. But first, I want you to know that our player of the game is coming to visit with us from last week. We have another special guest. That's all coming up. But I'm going to turn mine down, give it to Esmeralda, and they're going to cheer us out. Okay, ready? Okay, all right. Here we go.
Ready?
Let's go, Big Purple. Go, Big Purple. Let's go. Purple. Go, Big Purple.
Center Motor Company. From whatever angle you look at it, you see Ford. Ford trucks, SUVs like the Bronco, and iconic cars like the Mustang. A legacy managed by Kevin Jones and created by Ray Jones. Center Motor Company on Hurst Street in Center.
Have you sustained a bone, joint, work, or sports injury? Problems with mobility or movement? Suffer with pain? Contact Azalea Orthopedics. Our specialists serve patients across East Texas. For proven, trusted medical care, you have a choice. Demand Azalea.
At Sabine State Bank, you have a lot of things going for you. It's a small office, so everybody knows you by name. They know your needs in.
Welcome back, everybody, to Pizzeria for the Rick Meeks Show, brought to you by Sabine State Bank. Here's something that you guys need to know. There's a food truck that's part of the sponsorship. It's called Fry's, and it's going to be parked at the Tractor Supply parking lot. And it's really getting a lot of good reviews, and I think for 4 or 5 days in the lunch hour. So you ought to go get you something.
All right.
Y'all ought to get you something from Fry's. It's the food truck. It's all over the county, but it'll be at Tractor Supply. Okay. Coach, introduce this young man to us.
It's Cody Atkinson. He plays middle linebacker for us and running back. He's on two or three of our special teams. He's a 10th grader for us, and played really well Friday night. But not only that, he's played really well all three weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. And we call his name a lot. And that first week we were calling your name, and I said, 10th grade? That's, wow. He hits like a.
Nah, I don't know if he hits like that just yet.
Nah, come on.
You don't think he's quite sophomore level?
But no, Cody had a good game Friday night. 21 tackles, one forced fumble, one tackle for loss, one quarterback hurry. But he's just doing a really good job, and just trying to grow up a little bit as a 10th grader. Going from where he was at to Friday nights, and he dressed out with us a few times last year, but it's for real now, right? So, but he's done a really good job adapting to the speed of the game and really turning into somebody that we can really rely on that side of the ball. And then the best part is he's going to be around for a while.
Yeah. But pass your classes. Only be around for 2 more years. It's a great thing. This never happened in my high school career. He's got the cheerleaders behind the camera smiling at him, flexing his muscle. I never had that kind of thing in my life. Well, Cody, you how much did you play last year? Where were your downs last year? Were you on the JV or were you on the varsity?
No, last year I was on freshman.
And so that's a pretty big jump. When did you know you were going to be on the varsity?
About the last district game. I think that Monday, Coach Anding pulled me aside and pulled me up.
Okay. And you didn't, did you get on the field much?
He did against Brownsboro, and then a little bit against Liberty Ilo.
So did you
not a whole lot against Aubrey.
Did you see this coming?
Oh, yeah.
That he would be a leader on your defense this next year?
Sometimes that's that's tough to judge, especially with somebody younger in classification. I knew his actions would speak for themselves. Didn't know how everything else would take hold. And I'll say too, he's not a big time vocal leader right now, and that's okay. Not everybody leads that way.
Don't need that from everybody.
That's right. Because sometimes when you have too many voices, then nobody follows anybody. But his effort and the way he plays, very easy to get behind that. Plays with a lot of emotion, celebrates accomplishments during the game, which is what we highly encourage. And so that side of it has been very encouraging to see, and just trusting his talents and everybody else on that side of the ball is too.
Cody, the year began this year, and you're not just on the team, you're starting. Can you describe or explain the 30 minutes or so before the game, and then when you first go out there and you're taking your first couple of snaps, what that felt like?
Before the game, about 30 minutes before, I was nervous. I really was. And, man, about halfway through the first quarter, I realized it was no different, no harder hitting, just same pace. Faster pace, just bigger players. It was nothing different really to me.
Do you have a good time?
Oh, yeah, I have fun all the time.
What about practice? Is practice enjoyable enough?
Yeah, it's
okay, if a game is a 10 fun, that's a 10. How much fun is practice?
About a 5.
Okay. Oh, I'll take that. That's half as good as a game.
All right, so I've got a question. Okay, because I'll tell you what, I'm still fired up when you brought the wood down there at the goal line and did the forced fumble. Tell me, how fun was that? That was a 12, wasn't it?
It was amazing.
Yeah. I was still, I'm surprised. I'm just glad I didn't say something I wasn't supposed to say.
It was our Dairy Queen play of the game.
Yes.
That's how impressed we were. We just got.
And the thing that's the best about that is that is the epitome of be where your feet are. That's our Friday pillar. Trust the process. Play the next play. We talked last week about grit. So what? Now what? They had moved the ball down the field, had the ball on the 2-yard line.
Yes.
We could have just said, hey, they've moved it down here. They're going to score anyway. No, we played the next play. He runs the blitz the way he's supposed to. Contact in the backfield, fumble, our ball. You always just play the next play. You never know what's going to happen, and that was the epitome of that. And that was fantastic.
If you can learn to play the next play at your best in high school football, that happens the rest of your
That's
life.
right. That's right.
Well, thank you for being with us. Look forward to talking to you again on the field someday if we can figure out how to make all that technology work. The player of the game is brought to you by Center Motor Company. Thank you very much, Center Motor Company, for that. Also, Gaddy's Medical Supply, we failed to mention, are our cheerleader sponsors. Every time we talk to a cheerleader, it's Gaddy's Medical Supply that does that, so thanks to them as well. And to JBI Insurance, a sponsor of all the games that all the Rough Riders play all the way to May. And to Mooney's Emporium on the square for really good. Y'all ever shop at Mooney's Emporium? Do you ever gifts? Every girl said yes. Every girl said yes. Remember that, guys. Every girl said yes. We'll be back with something to smile about to close up the Rick Meeks Show right after this.
Gaddy's Medical Supply is your one-stop shop for all your medical supply needs.
Jack Allen, where's my ankle wrap stuff for my sore ankle?
Your ankle wrap or your Kinesio wrap?
The old guy wrap.
Ah, the ankle wrap. It's in the top bathroom drawer.
Okay, thanks.
If you are recovering from an illness or an injury, Gaddy's Medical Supply can offer you the support you'll need.
Jack Allen?
Yeah?
Where did I put the raised toilet seat?
Check behind the door.
Right.
From crutches to canes to chairs, Gaddy's Medical is there for you.
Behind which door?
The hall bathroom, Dad?
Okay.
Okay, take care of yourself or someone you love with Gaddy's Medical Supply.
Father, for lunch today, I would like a salad.
Father, for lunch, I'd like one of those American
no, I couldn't possibly.
cheeseburgers.
I'm a vegetarian.
Cheeseburger. That's
Oh,
what I
Father.
need. Ice cream.
Oh, when everyone in your family thinks they're royalty, take them someplace where they could all get something good. Dairy Queen. At Sabine State Bank, you have a lot of things going for you. It's a small...
Welcome back to the Pizzeria Rick Meeks Show. It's final segment brought to you by Sabine State Bank. Steve Waters, thank you for the sponsorship. It's time for something to smile about, brought to you by Wyndham Family Dental. Smiling's important over there at the Wyndhams. Something other than just what's going on in between the sidelines, something that we wouldn't necessarily know. What's there to smile about in the program?
Well, tonight we have our first inter-squad junior high game.
Okay.
And it's kind of a big deal for us because the last couple years and currently now this year, we have numbers and people that we're playing do not. Also, when they get into district, our district minutes state that they play our B games are a run and half. Well, we're not developing a foundation in those kids like we want to. So on Tuesday nights, from 7 to 8, we took our 7th grade and 8th grade B teams. We combined them. I had the coaches draft. So they drafted their own teams. We did it just like fantasy football.
Nice.
And they're inter-squatting right now as we speak. And so gets them a game in, but it's an inter-squad, so it doesn't count as a game. So come Thursday when we play Dangerfield, those kids are able to still travel again. Some of them, not all of them will, but some of them will still because they didn't get their game out. But the thing about it that's so great is now they are still getting to play. We're treating it like a game. We've got the field set up. The high school coaches are officiating. Pylons are out. Chains are out. I mean, they're playing a game.
And people are in the stadium.
And people are in the stands.
Right.
And they're able to continue to work their craft. And if we lose kids from 7th grade, 8th grade to 9th grade, if they're playing in 7th and 8th grade and then we lose them as they come over to the high school, we'll never get them back.
That's right.
And that's such a key time, and it's also our foundation.
Right.
That's the foundation of every single program or every single sport in our athletic program. And so we've got to keep those kids involved. And I know we were practicing when Coach Moore bussed them over a little while ago, and when they were getting off the bus, you want to talk about somebody that was smiling. Man, those kids were fired up. They were so excited coming out onto the field.
That is just great.
Right.
That's great. I know you had something, Larry, that you –
Yeah, well, I was going to something to smile about. I was smiling about a little bit cooler weather Friday night for the guys.
That's
because
it.
That is always running right there, too. But I'm going to tell you here, I can answer that question for you. No, nobody smiles at practice. You smile on game night. Nobody smiles at practice. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but we love practice. Nobody wants to, but yeah, that's it. But yeah.
Well, and I'm kind of glad that, hopefully that was a very honest answer.
Yeah, it was.
We want practice to be more difficult and tougher than Friday night. Friday night should be the easiest day of the week.
Practice is work. Friday night is the go out.
That's
night.
right.
That's what it is. That's why we always look at practice is work and Friday night is go out night.
Brett Favre used to say that his salary but game day wasn't included. He got paid for all that other stuff.
That's right.
Yeah. It's different on game day. It's totally different game day to practice. Yeah, you don't want to go through it, but you know that to be a good player, you have to practice. You have to be repetition. You have to do it. And then it pays off on Friday night.
That's right.
And then you get the big smile on the way home.
Yes,
That's
it. Final question for folks that might have missed it. What's the one thing we need to be aware about as we look at Dangerfield? Just like the offensive and defensive goals when we do those, just in a quick summary.
Yes, sir. So defensively, we've got to be locked into their tendencies, and they have some. And currently right now, they're even more because we're unsure who's going to play quarterback. Their first 2 games, their returning starter played quarterback. He was injured in an unfortunate automobile accident, and he is okay.
Thank goodness.
But injured enough that he was not able to play last week, and so they moved Bubba Hampton to quarterback. So the biggest thing there is figuring out who, and then once we know who, they have some definite tendencies. So they're a no-huddle team. They're going to play relatively fast offensively. We've got to identify those tendencies and trust what we see. If we'll do those things, then I think we can have another good night defensively and keep building off the momentum we've made. Offensively, we've got to keep executing like we are. You know, we can't take a step back. We can't take a night off. We've got to continue to push the tempo and make the defense match our intensity. And if we'll do that, then I think we'll be successful moving the ball.
Exactly 200 points in 3 games.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's good. That's
Keep
good
doing what you're
offense.
doing.
Good working offense right there.
That's it. We really believe in what we do. I think we do a really good job of getting our kids in space and in the right matchups. And we just got to continue to do that. And so if we'll do those things, we'll be all right. And then we've got to have a better night on special teams. You know, we did not execute well on special teams. They will be very dynamic in special teams because they're very athletic. So there are certain people that we have a no kick to zone. So, you know, Carlos is got to understand where those guys are. So we get the kickoff into the right spot. Same with punt. They have 2 guys back that we don't want to return it. So the ball better go out of bounds, you know, and let's go play defense. So we can't give them anything cheap, so to say. We got to make them earn everything that they do Friday night. And if we'll do those things, then I feel good about it. If not, then they're going to be hanging around and we're going to have a tough game on our hands.
Coach, thank you. Well, I hope you enjoyed the Rick Meeks Show. We enjoyed the pizza here at Pizzeria. It's brought to you by Sabine State Bank. Thanks to Cody Atkinson and our cheerleaders for joining us, and a big thank you to Steve Waters at Sabine State Bank for bringing the show to you. Be sure to join us at Friday, 7 o'clock for the Cornerstone Therapy pregame show. We'll visit with him again, and we'll visit with Sarah Hall. We've been saying that for 3 weeks. This week we're going to visit with Sarah Hall.
You sure?
And the Gaddy. Just surely we will. Halftime, Borders Poultry brings you up close and personal with our 2 drum majors. And, of course, Bounds Insurance brings you the band, and Deb's Boutique brings you the Pride of Shelby County. No, I'm sorry. Bounds Insurance brings you the Chaparrals, and Deb's brings you the band. I'll get that right one day. Wiggins Farm postgame show where we'll talk about the DQ play of the game and the Center Motor Company player of the game. Wallington and Shires Productions brings it all to you on NetSN Live right here where you're watching this and through your radios on KDET 930 AM. Until then, for the counselor Stephen Shires, for Larry, come on, Ref.
Come on, Ref.
And the athletic director, I'm Chris Wallington. See you Friday.
Bye-bye.
Herbie,
Excuse me?
Herbie, my marbles hurts.
What?
My tubers in my marbles.
Oh, you have a toothache.
Yebus, a tubers ache.
Well, you need to take that toothache to Wyndham Family Dental. If it can be done in a big city practice, it can be done at Wyndham Family Dental.
Oh, well, thanks very much.
At Sabine State Bank, you have a lot of things going for you. It's a small office, so everybody...
Sustained a bone, joint, work, or sports injury? Problems with mobility or movement? Suffer with pain? Contact Azalea Orthopedics. Our specialists serve patients across East Texas. For proven, trusted medical care, you have a choice. Demand Azalea.
Evans' three-point shot. It's good. Red Horse takes it to the house. This has been a presentation of the Rough Rider broadcast team, brought to you by Watlington and Shires Productions.